Okay, have a few moments.
Hi, Rick Sullivan.
Morning, Diane. How are you today?
Good morning. I came in just to hear your inspirations.
Uh-oh. Well, I hope it's inspiring.
I know it is. If you're giving it, it is. Hi, Gina.
Hi, Diane. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. There's Dion and Patty and Jane and Kim and Wendy. Nice. And Robin.
Uh-oh, Wendy's on? That could be dangerous.
Yeah. Wendy's on every Monday. And Robin too, Robin Walker.
Okay, we have one moment.
Yes, I am. Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Robin.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's always nice to see you, Robin.
Nice to see all of you too.
Give everybody one moment. Have about 1 minute left. Okay, I think it is 8:30, so happy Monday morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are so delighted that we have Mr. Rick here to share with us. I've seen his face a number of times, didn't know his name every time he passed, but I love to see him in his uniform and hat. He's always so sharp. So thank you, Mr. Rick, for joining us. And if we can have everyone to mute their phones, which it looks like they are, we're going to get started. So again, good morning. And we have Mr. Rick Sullivan here with us this morning, who's going to be sharing with us the final salute. And the quote is, "The veterans of our military services have put their lives on the line to protect the freedom that we enjoy. They have dedicated their lives to their country and deserve to be recognized for their commitment." And this is by Judd Gregg. Rick Sullivan is here to share with us his story about veterans being recognized and honored by Gilchrist volunteers. The Salute to Service tribute is a meaningful ceremony honoring a veteran's service to our country and includes a final salute, a gesture of respect and trust among members of the military. With the final salute, our veteran volunteers come to the bedside to honor, show their gratitude, and sometimes even bring peace, helping our veterans die whole. Dr. Rick Sullivan is a training, design, and implementation professional and has worked for many organizations, including the University of Central Oklahoma, Johns Hopkins University, and the International Ironworkers Union. At the age of 19, Rick enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps for 3 years and served one tour in Vietnam. Many years later, after retiring, he became a Gilchrist veteran volunteer, and is actively involved in conducting salute to service tributes and works with another Marine to write Gilchrist veteran newsletter. Rick has written several books and articles and has presented at many national and international conferences. Rick has conducted education and training courses in more than 20 countries and is known for his energetic and interactive presentation style. Rick received his Bachelor of Science from Ohio University, a Master of Science from Purdue University, and his PhD from the Ohio State University. And now we are going to share some slides with you. So let me share my screen. Give me one moment. Okay, and is everyone able to see my slides? Okay, Mr. Rick, you let me know how you want me to flow. So this is final salute.
Well, it's an honor and pleasure to be here this morning. And I know people are saying good Monday morning, but from retirement, it's good Saturday morning, but it's still a pleasure to be here with you today. Gina, if I could have the next slide, please. This brief presentation is called the Final Salute, and it's part of the Salute to Service Tribute. And we do these, as Gina said, to honor a veteran's military service. These are conducted by Gilchrist staff and military volunteers. We present a We Honor Veterans pin. There's a certificate from Gilchrist. There's a handmade patriotic Afghan. There's a card made by elementary students and other items. We try to have our great music therapist, excuse me, with us to provide patriotic music. And we do several hundred of these a year, but they always conclude with a final salute. And I'm going to share with you this morning some of the hopefully more inspirational and moving stories from these final salutes. The picture you're looking at here was one of the very early ones that I helped with. That's Sherman Knapp and his team. This is a Korean War veteran, and you can see the patriotic blanket on the bed there, the certificate, the veteran's holding the flag. He passed away just several hours after we left the home. So it had quite an impact on the veteran and his family at a very critical time in this veteran's life. So, Gina, next slide. Several months ago, I got a referral from one of the social workers, and I called the veteran. And the first thing the veteran said to me was, I need to tell you. And, you know, you don't like a sentence that begins with, I need to tell you. But he said, you know, 50 years ago when I was in the Navy, I made some mistakes, ended up having to leave the Navy early. It was not a dishonorable discharge, administrative. He said, I've regretted that for 50 years, so I don't know if I'm eligible to be honored like this. And my immediate response was, that's not Gilchrist's decision. The fact that you served your country for 3 years in the Navy, we're here to honor your service. And this is a picture that was taken in his home. It's his mother's home. And you can't read that card, but I'm going to lean a little closer. And it says, thank you for organizing and facilitating the military salute last Friday. It was one of the most proud moments of my life. Now that is an impactful statement. He was so overwhelmed. When his 90-some-year-old mother, we had her pin him with the We Honor Veterans pin, she kissed his forehead. I thought we were all going to lose it. There were 30 or 40 people there, friends from high school, to honor his military service. And if we'd have said, no, we're not going to do this, we would have deprived him and his family and his mother from being part of what turned out to be just a wonderful tribute. Gina, next slide, please.
And Mr. Rick, I was reading through it too, and just wanted to point out how I see where it said they especially like that everyone stayed to share good memories and not rush to complete the task. I think that was really nice.
It was. And the fact they had tons of food laid out had nothing to do with that. During the pandemic, we had to figure out other ways to do this. And it turns out as we're seeing this morning, there are some good uses of Zoom. And this was for a veteran in the Hollywood Squares frame here. He's in the lower, bottom row, third from the left. And he was a World War II veteran. And he and his wife both became ill. Thank God, not with COVID, but they were ill and moved to the building at Oakcrest. And they were on different floors in the medical building receiving care. And their four sons, three of which don't even live in Maryland, many miles from Maryland, long distance, hadn't seen their parents for quite a while because of COVID, and they couldn't get there. It was also the veteran's birthday with a great, the people at Oakcrest were just great. They had staff in both the veterans room, and you'll see in the lower left-hand corner his wife. We did a pre-check with Zoom. We took the kit with all the supplies out early, so they had them at Oakcrest. And so there was someone in each room to do the pinning, to present the wife. You see she's wearing one of our patriotic scarves. We have a proud wife of veteran pin. They pinned her. The sons were able to watch all this. You'll see Lacey Kidwell in the picture, your head music therapist, provided music. And the huge advantage of doing this on Zoom, we were able to record this and then provide that video to the family. So they'll always have this ceremony. So even though it was under COVID, we still figured out a make it work with the help of the folks from Oakcrest. And it turned out to be a very meaningful family reunion. Next slide, please. This was for a Marine, obviously still during COVID. We were on the back deck, which was open, so we could be there. Of course, we're all wearing our masks, and you'll see he's wearing he's got the We Honor Veterans pin. He's got the patriotic quilt made by our wonderful volunteers. When we pulled up to the house, the neighbors had put out American and Marine Corps flags totally around his property. It was kind of a chilly day, but we were fortunate. It was a porch we were on, but all these family and friends were outside to honor this veteran. Now, that meant so much to the veteran. It meant so much to the family and friends. But think about the message that sends about how Gilchrist takes care of their veterans. And again, we do several hundred of these every year. Next slide, please. Again, most of these are during the pandemic. I'm unmasked because I was saying present arms, and he can't hear you with a mask, but I was more than 6 feet from the veteran. This was in his backyard. I think he was a Korean War veteran. He was able to stand and salute us. And when he stood and saluted, all the family and friends who were outside with us got so emotional. They're applauding, they're yelling, they're cheering him on. Again, a great event. You can't see Lacey Kidwell. She even had a chair there and was playing music in the backyard. So again, quite an event to honor this veteran's military service. Next slide, please. This one was just several weeks ago, and this was a true honor. The veteran in the wheelchair, what a pistol. She's 99 years old. She'll be 100 on the 11th of August. She was one of the first Navy waves. Now, I didn't know until I did research for this one, and that's probably should be WAVES because it's an acronym, and it's women, something for emergency service, volunteer emergency service. And this was it's the beginning of World War II, excuse me. And it was women who volunteered for naval service so the men could go to war. And evidently her mother was not very thrilled with this because she was sisters, but her dad was supportive. And so she went off to join the WAVES. And we were honoring her military service. This is the Pledge of Allegiance. Her husband passed when he was in his 50s. She remarried, and both of them brought 7 children to the marriage with 14 children. That's her great-granddaughter holding the American flag. We barely got through. We barely got through the Pledge of Allegiance. They had a videographer. There must have been, this was at Mercy Ridge in their big auditorium. There's probably 40 or 50 family members there. There's a granddaughter writing a book about her grandmother. Just a wonderful tribute. And again, think of the honor we brought to that veteran and the memories we brought to that family. That little girl is going to treasure that picture her entire life. Next slide, please. This was a very interesting one we did last winter. And the veteran was a Vietnam veteran. It gets personal because most of our team were Vietnam vets. Directly behind him is his daughter, Marine in her dress blues. To her left was his former commanding officer in uniform. The word got out. We had a computer sitting off to the side with 70 of his colleagues from all around the country to watch this tribute. And then, of course, now that meant I had about the Saturday before to make sure Zoom was installed, the Zoom worked. We recorded it. We got the video to the family that went to, then they made we did not make the video available to everybody. We made it available to the family. They then made it available to everybody who wanted a copy of the video. He was so honored. And that's one of the, Kim Fuller, our veteran coordinator, has a stash of just a few of the Vietnam colored blankets. And this was one of them that we gave to that veteran. The rest of the folks in the picture are part of our team. Next slide, Gene. This was very early in doing salutes. I was with Ed Kaplan and Tim Price. We went into the facility out on the west side of town. It was out in Ed's area. We met the wife in the lobby. And I've heard Kathy tell this story several times after we shared it. But the wife met us in the lobby to say, my husband hasn't communicated for several days. They took him off dialysis. They just gave him a shot of morphine. He's very unresponsive. I just want to let you know. And we said, well, we're here to honor his service. This is as much for the veteran as it is for the family. Again, he was a Vietnam veteran. And so we went in, there were just the three of us. We did everything you see. He's pinned, he's got his Afghan, and he's holding his son's hand, who was an Army veteran, who had his grandchildren there. I cropped them out of the picture so I wouldn't get yelled at by Diane and Kim. But they were in the picture, they were in the room. At the end, we did the final salute. And when I said, present arms, the veteran returned our salute. His wife lost it, the son lost it, we lost it. The hearing is the last to go, as many of you know. And this meant so much to this veteran and his family. Next slide, Gina. Excuse me. We did one last winter. This is before we could go back into the home. So we were literally, we got to the front porch. It was about 34 degrees. The family had a card table on the front porch with coffee and donuts. And we had to do this through the screen window. Now, I won't tell you how I got the picture, but I want you to look at his Marine Corps cap, because when I talked to the daughter here, I said, well, if your father, she lives and breathes Marine Corps, Kim. And she said, my dad was such a proud Marine. I said, well, if he wants to wear his Marine Corps hat, do that. Well, she said, he doesn't have one anymore. Well, a friend of mine gave me this bright red Marine Corps hat years ago. I don't wear red hats. I just a red hat thing. So I took it over the day of the salute, and he proudly wore it. But we got this note from the daughter. Sadly, my father passed away in the morning of Sunday, February 28th. I know he's looking down, smiling, and saluting you for all that you and your team volunteers did with the salute to service. So you look at what Gilchrist did for that family, that memory is going to be there the rest of her life. Next slide. These are words from a son. My dad, Ron, passed away on Monday. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you personally for what you guys did for him. The quilt you made him is going to be put in the casket with him to be with him forever. Thank you all, and God bless. Next slide. These are the final message. This is from a brother. Thank you to your team very much. What a patriotic gesture. Unfortunately, my brother passed away early this morning, but your ceremony brought him honor and joy in his last days. I know he appreciated it greatly. So when you look at the impact these tributes have, as many of you know, about 10 to 15% of Gilchrist patients are veterans, which means under our care at any time, we have 100 to 150 veterans. And we encourage the social workers, let us know when you have veterans, because we know what these ceremonies mean for the veterans and their families. So last slide, Gina. With that, you can close out, share screen if you'd like, Gina. And I don't know how much, I know we're about done. So Gina, I don't know if there's any questions, or I don't know how you do that with all these people on, but I'd be glad to take a couple of questions if you can facilitate it.
Sure. First, I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Rick, for the slides and the pictures and the memories that you are creating for all of these families. We really appreciate you and your team for what you do. And we know you're making memories with these families that they'll carry with them for their life. So if anyone would like to share a comment or have a question for Mr. Rick, please unmute at this time and do so.
Rick, it's Carrie Riggs, the social worker on the Maple team. And I just want to thank you for always being so responsive. Even just 2 weeks ago when I was like, this person's declining pretty quickly, you guys were out there the next day, but you're always so responsive. And I've had the pleasure of doing a few of these with you. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It's our honor.
Anyone else have a comment or thought or would like to say something to Mr. Rick?
Yes, this is Wayman. I just wanted to say these stories were so powerful, but in particular, the first one where the gentleman stopped you or said, I have something to tell you. And he talked about his discharge. I can only imagine how long he carried that in him. And by having this ceremony, it's as if you kind of lifted something off of him, like let him know that he deserves to be honored. So there is some, I really heard a real emotional and spiritual healing in that moment, where at the end, after serving, after discharging from the service, holding on to some pain from that, but then at the end of life, having a chance to kind of come together, get honored, and being told, you deserve to be honored, and getting told that from a fellow veteran, that's very powerful. And it sounds like it was so meaningful to him and his family. Thank you so much for sharing that and the other stories and testimonies today.
Thank you, Wayman.
And Rick, this is Diane. I just, those stories, I just wanted to say thank you. You are an incredible leader. The team of veterans is just an unbelievable group of people, and what you do for our veterans and their families. And I just want to make a special note about how you bring different generations. I love the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren and all the different generations, and then the cards that are made by kids. I just think that in addition to everything that you do, that's really special, that intergenerational honoring and celebrating. So again, as everybody said, Rick, thank you. thank you and the rest of our veteran team for all you do.
Thank you, Diane.
Does anyone else have any comments or thoughts to share or questions to ask Mr. Rick? So I guess, Mr. Rick, you have definitely had a heart for this. Oh, go ahead, Christine.
Oh, just that I had a lovely experience where Rick was able to not only pin the patient, but his brother who also served at a house, and the wife got a pin as well. And it just was just the pride and the joy experienced by the patient and the family. I actually pulled up at my next visit, and the plaque that they had that they can post for their service that was given to them was actually taped to the house on the outside so the neighborhood could see it. And so it was really special. So thank you.
Thank you. Again, we have very special volunteers. All these veterans are just great to work with.
And I just want to add, everybody that's here on the call, that we really want everybody to identify veterans. It's everybody's responsibility. So please, I think the social workers lead, but you know, we've got nurses, we've got volunteers, we've got all kinds of folks here, our coordinators. If you see a veteran, please make sure you talk to them or just reach back to Rick or any of our lead veteran volunteers. We want to make sure that we honor every veteran that is and their families. So please, it does take a village to make sure that we honor our military heroes. So that just a word just to remember that.
And Mr. Rick, I wanted to ask, what's the name of the books? I see it says you've written several books. What are your the titles of your books that you can share with us?
Well, they're training related on their presentation skills and course training design, kind of real exciting things. Put you to sleep if you read them.
Well, I'm sure you've seen a lot of excitement since you joined and enlisted at the age of 19. So I'm sure you've seen a lot and experienced a lot. And again, we appreciate your service that you've given to this country. We appreciate what you're doing now. And we thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And we hope to hear from you again.
Well, I look forward to being back. Just take care of our veterans, please.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a wonderful Monday, a wonderful week ahead, and we'll see you next Monday. And Mr. Rick, please join us whenever you can, any Monday.
They're all available.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rick.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Rick.
Bye. Bye.